Good morning. Welcome in. We are the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone, brought to you by the Purple Mattress at Muskelly Sleep Store. 7 locations. Try it out. I'm telling you, you'll love it. We're going on 6+ months. Wendy and I love the Purple Mattress from Muskelly Sleep Store, Muskelly Furniture. 7 locations in the great state of Mississippi. Check it out. Lay on it. You'll love it. Technology. Oh, gosh. I love it. Game changer for us. The Purple Mattress from Muskelly Sleep Store. The Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. Blake Mania, what do you have before we go to John Cohen in a few minutes?
The only reason I'm able to put up with you every day is because they hooked me up with this purple cushion. Pillow might not be the right word.
Oh,
cushion.
Dr. V brought that for you because you started whining.
Well, yeah, obviously I need to be taken care of. I'm like you might be the driver, but I'm the engine. We ain't getting around this track without the engine. You know what I'm saying? So you got to keep the engine well oiled. You got to keep it running. And I will say, this is all jokes aside. If you work in a job where you sit all day, it is 10,000 times more valuable to have this cushion than what it would ever cost you to get the cushion.
Yeah.
This thing changes the way you sit. It's awesome. I love it. These chairs were terrible. I could sit here all day now.
That's a good endorsement.
No, I'm being serious.
Very solid
because I have
of
to
you.
sit here all the time. So if I had to sit here in this uncomfortable chair and listen to you, now I only have to listen to you. Now I got the cushions. I'm comfortable. Makes it all easier.
Well, you're about to get to listen to John Cohen.
I can't wait.
All right. The Out of Bounds Show is brought to you by the one and only Purple Grid. Groundbreaking, no pressure, gel technology is the star of every Purple mattress at Muskelly Sleep Store. John Cohen will join us in a couple of minutes. Want to say good morning, welcome in. Go through some stuff. Jackson Dart has yet to announce for Ole Miss or Oklahoma. Ole Miss camp, very, very confident, obviously. Trigg, the tight end, a piece of this puzzle too. Some believe that could take Ole Miss to number 1 in the transfer portal football recruiting rankings. Mississippi State and Ole Miss had several guys start school yesterday, transfers. Mississippi State landed on, Blake, a field goal kicker.
Oh, sign me up, big boy.
Yeah. They landed on a field goal kicker, which was something that they desperately needed. And they're bringing a couple of them in. And so I think people are excited. I know that's not something that really gives people the buzz and the juice, which, by the way, Jackson State's brought in 10 guys. I mean, Deion's just going out talent everybody, and it's brilliant move by him. Massimo Biscardi, is that good enough?
That was perfect.
All right, from Coastal Carolina. He was, 46 of 53 or 56 or something?
Something like that. For his career, he's 46 of 57 for his career.
That's a Massimo Biscardi. That's a pretty odd. Trying to think. Where am I going with that? Does that sound like a rum?
He sounds like an Italian race car driver.
He does.
Just going back to
Formula
the
One?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Massimo Biscardi.
No doubt. Yeah. Straight out of some country
and
he
would get out of the Formula One car after an 8-hour race and somehow not have sweat at once and be perfectly manicured and,
with 6 supermodels around him.
Yeah, and they pop the champagne and somehow it doesn't get on him. Yeah,
Victoria's Secret models.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if he kicks,
is Victoria's Secret still around?
Yeah, I think so. I've never. I mean,
holding on by a
it's
thread.
been a long time since I would have been in one.
Wonder how that's going for them.
When was the last time you were in a shopping mall?
Well, I've been in I have shopped at the Victoria's Secret in North Park Mall. Now, it may have been 23 years ago or something, but I have been in that shop. I'm confident it's no longer there, but I haven't been to North Park in a while. I did need a button-down shirt 10 years ago, and I don't know what I was doing in between. That's where our studio used to be. And so I went to North Park Mall, and I got a button-down shirt. So that's my story there. Are you surprised about that? Blake?
Not that it was over a decade ago that you went to the mall.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was getting at.
Yeah. All right. Out of bounds, 105.9 The Zone ESPN. We welcome in Athletic Director John Cohen to the show. John, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great, Bo. Good morning to you.
So, tell me how do you feel about the Mississippi State football program going into year 3 with Mike Leach and the coaches and the team?
Well, there's no question. We made real progress this year. I love what we have coming back. You know, you can just see the progress we make, especially in the off season with our strength and conditioning staff and midnight maneuvers, which Coach Leach just absolutely loves, and quite frankly, so do I. I like where we are. I think we have a chance to have a really, really talented wide receiver room. I think the offensive line is getting rebuilt and put together in a way to last. I think we have one of the premier quarterbacks in the country. I think our running back room is going to be very, very solid. On the defensive side, we still probably need a little bolster in the secondary, but I'm really excited about where we are, and I think this football team and this staff has proven, they're never really out of a football game, and that they are built to win football games in the SEC West, which is, not an easy thing to do.
Yeah. John Cohen on the Out of Bounds show. He joins us on the Bucked Up Energy Drinks guest line. So where are you with the transfer portal? You coached for a long time. So you recruited players out of high school and you recruited players out of junior college. And I guess over the years you landed some transfers, but it wasn't the transfer portal that we're doing today. So as a former coach now, with the AD hat, where are you with the transfer portal?
I think there's good and bad. I know it's a very political way to answer that question, but when I coached, of course, if you transferred from Division I to Division I or Division II or any 4-year institution to a Division I, unless you have very, very special circumstances, you had to sit out a year. I myself, as a student athlete, had to sit out a year because I transferred from a NAI, a 4-year institution to a 4-year institution. So that really makes you think about the decision, and I think that's a valid thing that, so many times when you're young and you might, make a knee-jerk reaction without fully thinking about it with your parents, and I think that happens sometimes. I love the fact that there is more opportunity. The one thing I'm going to say about this is I keep hearing, I hear student athletes say, and I understand this because they're 18 to 22 years old, and so was I, and so were you. But I keep hearing them say, hey, it's my right, it's my opportunity. You can't take away the opportunity for me to transfer. But we all know with finite numbers like 85 football scholarships, in the 27 baseball players on aid, whatever that number happens to be, Bo, if you transfer from one place to another, you're essentially taking away somebody's opportunity. So, opportunity is an interesting thing, but it's got to be looked at from both sides. In other words, if the University of Alabama signs, 12 transfer kids, that's 12 less high school kids that are going to end up playing football at the University of Alabama. Those kids' opportunities are lost. And of course, this is going to happen everywhere. So I think there are times where we need to take a deep breath and understand that there's cause and effect, and there's a little bit of a chain reaction to these things.
John Cohen joining us on ESPN 105.9 The Zone, ADMSU. So don't you think that Mike Leach and in-house recruiting staffs and assistant coaches, both at MSU and all around the country, are still trying to figure out kind of the balance of, because you have to leverage it as an asset. You know that you're not going to hit on every player. How would you look at it as a former coach? I kind of look at it as MSU, Arkansas, Oklahoma State, whoever it is, they're trying to net out as many starters as they can, John, and or guys that they feel pretty confident can get into the too deep. How do you see it?
Well, as a former coach, if you're telling me I can have a proven performer from a four-year institution, even if it's a so-called, and I'm using air quotes here, a mid-major. If I can get a guy who's already been away from home for 2 or 3 years and has made that adjustment and had success, an all-conference and all-American type player, versus bringing in a high school player who, let's just be really honest, it doesn't matter if they're a 4 or 5-star. You don't know how that young person is going to adjust to college. If you have the kid who's already gone through those really tough times early on in their career, it's a no-brainer. I think, and that's not always the case. There's always going to be a place for high school players as well. But let's be really frank. Let's reverse this. That's the viewpoint from a coach. The viewpoint from a high school kid and their parents is we want to play. We want the opportunity to step in and play immediately in that sport, whatever it is. So I think the way student athletes, their parents, and quite frankly coaches look at the transfer portal, look at their own opportunities is going to really change. Although I will say this, Bo, one of the things, I was looking at this statistic just 2 Saturdays ago in the SEC. Out of 70 men's basketball starters 2 Saturdays ago, 38 of the 70 were Division I transfers.
Wow.
I'm thinking to myself, is that number going to go up? And then I think, well, those kids can't transfer because they've already transferred one time.
Right.
So do those numbers go up? Do they stay the same? Do they diminish a little bit? I think we're heading for a really interesting time moving forward.
John Cohen on the Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. Do you feel like that this MSU football staff is casting a wider net in both recruiting and transfer portal recruiting, and that is a benefit or an asset for the program?
I do, just because, with specific positions, Bo, maybe that right tackle, maybe that one position, it might not just be available to you from a high school standpoint in our state in a given year. I said that about baseball in the past. Maybe our state doesn't produce a shortstop and we need one at that time. You got to go somewhere else, and you got to have connections. And, with the transfer portal, you can go back. If you've been recruiting nationally, then the kid who went somewhere else might want to transfer. So I think having a wider net, especially with the way the portal is working at this point in time, is really important. But we always want to zero in on our state first, because our state, we've been very fortunate. You can't name a sport that our state hadn't been very, very good to us at Mississippi State. So we're always going to start with that.
All right, let's move to baseball. And so your baseball program's coming off a national championship, the first one in school history, and there's all this excitement around the program. I don't know how that works. Do you have to flush out what has played out the last 5 or 6 months? Not sure your thoughts there, but I want to talk about Landon Sims. As a former baseball coach, there's talk that he's going to make this move, and he's going to go from one of the best relievers in the country to possibly Friday or Saturday starter. Walk me through that, and if you feel like Landon Sims can pull this off.
Yeah, first of all, I think Landon Sims can pull anything off. The question becomes what is best for the team, and nobody is more of a team guy than Landon Sims. If I was the coach at Mississippi State, I'm not sure what I would do with this, but I think it's very much worth a try. I do know that our coaching staff does an incredible job with communicating with each kid and asking them what their goals are, what they feel most comfortable with. So I think moving them to Friday night, especially in the beginning of the year, is a good thing. People ask me all over the country why that kid is so successful. And I'll tell you, Bo, he's 94, 96, but believe it or not, if you line up the amount of SEC arms that can go 94, 96, that's a long line at this point in time in 2022. But he can get to both sides of the plate with his fastball. And that's why I really believe he can be a starter and he can be successful on Friday night, because when you can command that fastball and get early swings, early outs, early in the count, and you can be economic with your pitch count, I think you have a chance to be successful. But that 94, 96 on both sides with a swing and miss slider, pretty special. I mean, that combination right there, there's just not a lot of folks in college baseball that can pull that off.
And you wouldn't be surprised if Preston Johnson grabbed a starting role, would you?
I wouldn't. But the thing that I know about Fox and Coach Lemonis is that they're going to mix and match early. They're not going to be afraid to experiment. They did the same thing last year, I think, when our kids went off to Texas to play, and what a great experience that was for them early. Yeah, he's going to mix and match, and they're not afraid to make changes. I think there are a lot of coaches that have, hey, I'm going to do it this way, and if it doesn't fit, we'll make it fit type thing. That's not how this coaching staff operates, and quite frankly, I think that's why they were able to bring us home our first national championship.
Do you think that the program is now the hunted instead of the hunter? I understand they've been winning all the way back to the 70s, and there have been some highs. And then there's been some, it's just a good program. I talk about how you modernized the program and rebuilt it, and then some really good things have happened since 2009 or so, 10, whatever. How do you see that as far as the hunter or the hunted?
Yeah, the one thing about baseball in our league, and I think, again, you can say this about a lot of sports in the Southeastern Conference, but the thing about baseball is if you weren't good, okay, if your team isn't successful and you don't have the right pieces in place and you can't win at a high level, what the problem you used to have is that you can't recruit out of that immediately. It's it's a cycle. I mean, you got to get kids in. You have to get them experience. You got to get them to that second and third year before they can be the guy who can help you win at a high level in the league. What's different now, Bo, is this. We just talked about it. If you can go get kids who have already had success in college and plug them in immediately, that can jumpstart you. So I think the one thing about our league is I think it just got better because you got just an infusion of really good mid-major players who have been waiting their turn to play at this level, and they're older. So what we've seen is because of the COVID extra year and the transfer portal, you're going to see much older baseball teams in the Southeastern Conference moving forward. So you asked me originally about being the hunter or being hunted. I would say yes. We're a little bit more in that stage of being the hunted because of our facility, because of the success we've had, being in Omaha the last 3 years and winning a national championship. But, man, I think every team in this league is going to be the hunted because I think you're about to see as much parity as you've ever seen in the Southeastern Conference.
Unbelievable. I mean, and then you add Jay Johnson and Schlossnagel and others to the mix. Filthy. All right, John Cohen.
Hey, great, Bo, great example there. LSU's great example. They had some real holes they had to fill because of the transfer portal. LSU's already there. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're there. So that could not have happened 10 years ago, but it can happen right now in 2022 because of the portal.
Scotty DeBrule, his impact for Lemonis and Gautreaux last year. Unbelievable. All right, John Cohen on the Out of Bounds show. Logan Tanner. Last summer, catcher number 1 pick, 2018, catcher number 1 pick. Is the sky the limit for this young man?
He is. I think he's a very determined young man. I think the arm strength is undeniable. You've seen the bat continue to get better, especially with 2 strikes. You've seen him learn how to lead really an elite pitching staff. I think the only thing he has got to do, all those big guys behind the plate, and he's a physical guy, which is what every major league team wants, but they really have to take care of their bodies. It's grueling back there, and that means you got to put in extra work, and I know he will do all those things to take care of himself to make sure he can get through a 70-plus game season. And that's what I think a lot of scouts are looking at. Can he hold up? Because he is a bigger guy, putting a lot of pressure on those knees and ankles behind the plate. So, yeah, I am so impressed with that young man. You could say this about a lot of kids, but we don't win a national championship without him. And again, a thing that has really stepped out to me is how much better he has gotten with Coach Gotro with his approach to play.
Who's the best pure hitter coming back on the team now that Tanner Allen's gone?
Oh, wow. Man, that's that's a really tough question to answer because I think there are a lot. I think Logan Tanner could be that guy. I really do. And even though he might not, so many folks fall in love with the left-handed swing, but I think he might end up being our best guy. I think he's going to be a middle-of-the-order guy. I think he sees the breaking ball and evaluates it pretty well. I think he might end up being our best overall hitter, our purest hitter on this team.
John Cohen on the Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. John, let's wrap it up with some men's basketball. I've got about a minute and a half here. What are your expectations for the men's basketball program?
My expectations are this. I say this a lot to our staff and to our coaches. Man, I just want to see our kids compete at their highest level and get the most out of their abilities. We play Alabama the other night. Guy throws one up from 35 feet away. If it goes in, we lose the basketball game. Does that mean that we didn't play hard and we didn't have a successful night? No. There's a little bit of luck that goes into this. And the thing I'm excited about with our men's team is, for the most part, I feel like, Ole Miss was not obviously the game we wanted to have, but for the most part, our kids have given a tremendous effort. They're playing well together, and there's a lot of new pieces there as well. I know you're aware of that with the transfer portal with that group, but I just want to see them compete their hearts out every night and attack their opponent, and that's my expectation. If that happens, John Cohen goes to sleep really happy every night. And I'll tell you something. Coach Howland is a man nobody in the country doesn't believe that he doesn't know the game at a very high level. So we're very privileged to have him here and love the way his kids are playing right now.
John, we appreciate your time this morning. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Bo.
MSU AD John Cohen joined us on the Bucked Up Energy Drinks guest line. Look for the can with the with the buck on it, the deer and the antlers. Bucked Up Energy Drinks guest line. We are the Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. The show is brought to you by the one and only Purple Grid, the purple mattress from Miskelly Sleep Store. Groundbreaking, no-pressure gel technology is the star of every purple mattress at Miskelly Sleep Store and their 7 locations. Good morning. Welcome in. Tom Luganville coming up at 8:30 on